All right, welcome to this episode of Life Recovery Chats. Today we're going to look at step 10. We'll do an overview of the step, and then we'll go over some key points. Step 10, we continue to take personal inventory, and when we're wrong, we promptly admitted it. Let's look at the first key point. The first key point is that this is the first of the maintenance steps. So the last 3 steps of the 12 steps are maintenance steps. By now, you've done the very difficult work that it's taken as you surrendered your life over to God, as you've embraced His ways, as you've done that inventory of yourself, as you've confessed that, as you've asked God to remove those shortcomings from you, as you've made that list of people you had harmed, and you've started making amends to them as God brings you along their path, and you're just intentionally moving in that direction. Now it's time to move into maintaining these things. And so this is the first. Step 10, 11, and 12 are all maintenance steps to continue to maintain that lifestyle of integrity. The next key point is that by this point, we now know what to do, so it needs to become part of our lifestyle. Again, the 12 steps are very simple. This is a very simple process. This is a very simple program, but it's not an easy program. It's one that takes hard work. It's one that has to overcome fear. It's one that lives in humility and surrender to God in order to see these things come to pass. But by this point, you've now learned, or should have learned, what it is to walk a healthy life. And as you continue to walk that healthy life and you can continue to become the person God always intended you to be in walking in integrity, those addictions should be falling off of your life now. And this isn't just simply you go through it and you're done. This now becomes a part of who you are. The next key point is that self-awareness is a new strength we should have gained through this process. You should now be more self-aware than you've ever been before in your life, as you've done that hard work of looking internally, of going over your past, of thinking why you made the decisions you made and the things that led you into the bondages of addiction. And as you become self-aware, it's just such a healthy thing because you're able to tackle those things. When you make a mistake, you're able to promptly admit it. And you're able to move into those phases of doing what's necessary that you don't remain there in that same place. The next key point is that sometimes connecting with our sponsor and mentor is key. And as I've been going through these steps, talking about them over and over again, you see this key point being made because it's so helpful to have somebody who's been through these processes before, someone that you look up to, someone that you want to emulate, and you're able to connect with them and they're able to hold you accountable and ask you how you're doing, to ask if you're working your steps, to ask if you're taking your inventories, and if you are continuing down that path that leads to a continuous lifestyle of freedom. The next key point is that the underlying principle in the 12 steps is to build character and integrity into us continually. That is the point of this program. It's not just simply to get free from our addictions, which has been mentioned in our previous videos. It is to build integrity and character into us. And that is one of the key components to this program. As you begin to build that into your life and you allow God to begin to build these things into your life, that's where you really begin to see massive change and are able to walk out a lifestyle of healing and recovery on a consistent basis. The next key point is that we start by doing this daily at the end of the day. Eventually, we want to get to the point where this is something that is just simply going on throughout our entire day, that we're recognizing when we're entering into those old patterns of behavior, when we're making mistakes, when we're doing things to other people that aren't right, when we're embracing lying, those kinds of things. But a good way to start it out is at the end of the day, to look over your day from when you woke up to this point in your day before you go to bed and just think, was there any points in the day where I was walking in those old behaviors? Was there any points in the day where I was doing things that weren't up that weren't in alignment with that character and integrity that we are allowing God to build into our lives. And at that moment, we repent of those things, we turn from them, and we embrace the right path that God would have for us. All throughout our lives, we have these different paths and these different times when temptation comes to walk in that old person. But we have to overcome that. And doing an inventory at the end of the day is very helpful in that, in confessing that to God and being ready to make right when we've gone down a wrong way once again. The final key point I want to make when it comes to step 10 is that this is a spiritual exercise that is done intentionally, and it allows us to stay strong. As long as we continue in these principles, we will see a difference in our lives. We will gain strength, and we will be able to fight off temptation when it comes. That is a huge part of the 12 steps, is the fact that we're not just simply getting sober, but we're being changed from the inside out. And as we're changed, we become stronger people. We become people who are aware of ourselves. We become people who begin to embrace God's path for us in walking that straight and narrow path that brings life into us. And so this is something that we want to continue on throughout the rest of our lives. And so the 12 steps, you never really finish them, even though you can get through all 12, and you do, but it becomes a part of who you are. And it becomes part of your everyday life for the rest of your life, that you're constantly in a place of self-awareness, that you're constantly doing inventories and thinking about the way that you're living your life and the choices you're making and adjusting when that's necessary. So I hope you've enjoyed this video of step 10, and I trust you got something out of it. I hope that I'll see you in the next video about step 11. God bless you on your journey of recovery, and we'll see you next time.